Good morning, Stampers. Happy Friday. Welcome to this week's Facebook Live. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada. And I'm here to share with you some brand new product from the upcoming January to June 2022 mini catalog. Now, I can see that we're a little crooked here. See if we can straighten that out. All right, so I ended up deciding to do something completely different than what I had planned today because the diorama dies are still, they're still on back order, and I knew they would still be, but they were due in next week, and now they are delayed until the following week. So I thought I would just hold off and share the project that I was planning to do this week, possibly do it next week or when they become available again. So for those of you who have been holding off placing your orders for the Diorama Seascape class, I'm going to extend that class deadline until the end of the month, just because those dies are still on back order. I just want everybody to be able to participate who wants to participate. Okay, so I will go into the information and change that. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. All right, so today I'm going to share a peek at some new product from the upcoming catalog, just like I said. Actually, before we get started, so I can get this off my desk, last Friday's project were these adorable little holiday tags and then this thank you card. And I drew the winner. You get a chance to win for every comment that you make. And if you share this video, you get 5 entries. So I drew Raywyn's name, Raywyn Lawrence. So I will pop that in the mail for her. So thank you all for watching and sharing. I appreciate it. All right, today I'm going to make 2 cards. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to share additional samples that have been created using this same collection. So like I said, this is a collection from the upcoming catalog. So it's not available to order to customers until January 4th. As a demonstrator, we can pre-order it, and that also means that if you want to purchase the starter kit, you can include pre-order product in the starter kit. So this is available to be added to your starter kit if that seems like a good fit for you. All right, so I'm going to use the Blessings of Home bundle, which is this beautiful stamp set. Initially, you know, I'm not normally drawn towards flowers, but because we've got a wedding coming up and just the greetings in it, I decided to go for it. And I am so glad I did. It is such a beautiful set. So I have lots to share with you today. And then of course there's coordinating dies. Now this bundle is part of a mega bundle, which means there's an additional bundle included in it. There's memories of more cards. There's memories of more cards and envelopes. There's some cute little doilies. There's some embellishments. There's some ribbon. There's some paper. So it's a mega suite. It's got a ton of stuff that coordinate with it. But we're just really going to focus on this bundle and the beautiful DSP. And I have used the DSP a lot. I don't have, you can see, I had to pull out scraps for some of the patterns because I've used so much of them. Okay, so these are the patterns. I love this one. So pretty. This is the only piece I have left of this one. And I'll share the back sides in a minute. And then this one, which we're going to use today. And then we've got some garden green. And this is another favorite. I love this one. We're going to use this one today too. And then this one, which is super pretty. And then there's this one. And then the back sides of all these, they're all kind of wood grain patterns, which is so fun. I love this. So these make great backgrounds or little accents. So you can see it's all different kinds of wood grain. So fun. I love this one with the with any of these wood grains patterns. Love it. All right. Yes, the bees. The bees are so cute. In the other set, I think it's called Honeybee something or other, but there's some adorable little bees in the other bundle. That's right, the bees are adorable. Mary Liz, I agree. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I've got a 3 3/4, I think it's 3 3/4 by 5 inch, yeah, piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to use this big floral image. and some Pale Papaya ink. Now these large stamps, I prefer to ink them upside down like this because I feel like I have a little bit more control. So I'm just going to ink that up, make sure it's really well inked. This is a fairly detailed stamp, so you want to make sure that your stamp is well inked. And then I'm going to stamp it kind of in the middle. So the two cards that I'm sharing with you today, we're not really coloring them in. So I wanted to show you some options because sometimes when people see these kinds of stamps, if you're not a fan of coloring, they can be pretty intimidating, but there is a lot that you can do without having to color them in each time. Okay, so I'm just applying pressure all the way around just to make sure I get a nice even image. And then we'll lift that up and look how pretty that is. Okay. We are done. Actually, let's bring the inside piece in. We're going to add another little one kind of in the corner. Now this is pretty dark. It will lighten a little bit. I just re-inked my stamp because it wasn't very well inked. And I knew I needed a better inked stamp. So I'm just going to ink up just the top portion of this because we're going to stamp it on the inside, and actually we might as well do our envelope as well. Just kind of in the corner here. And then let's take the stuff out of the envelope and we'll do our envelope. It's always nice to have a matching envelope. Just ink that up again and we'll stamp it in this corner here. Okay, I think we're done with this now. Set that aside, and that, and now I've got a little 1/2-inch strip of white cardstock, and I'm going to bring in some cinnamon cider. The color combination of both of our cards today is cinnamon cider and Pale Papaya, and then white. That is Pale Papaya, Michelle. Welcome. Good afternoon to you too. Did you guys get dumped on for snow out there in Newfoundland? So I'm just going to take this Have a Perfect Birthday, which is also from this set, and stamp that on there. And then I'm going to trim it down a little. Okay, reach my paper trimmer. Good morning, Missy. Happy Friday, everyone. Okay, I think that's good. I don't think it needs to be trimmed anymore. Okay, so I'm going to bring this back. Actually, I'm going to bring my scrap paper back again, and I'm going to take my cinnamon cider blend, take the cap off the brush tip, and I'm just going to do a few splatters. And then we're going to distress it. No power for 12 hours. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm thinking about you. I can't even imagine getting that much snow all at once. Okay, so I'm taking my scissors and I am just distressing the edges. This is my current favorite technique. Does anybody else find that they go through phases where they love to do things and they just do it, seem to do it on every project? Splattering and using my scissors to distress the edges seems to be, just seems to be my current favorite. Okay, push that onto my floor. Okay, and then I'm going to curl up the corner just a little bit. All right, and doesn't that look nice? Completely changes the look. Okay, so now our card base is Pale Papaya. It's just a standard size card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I've got just a narrow strip, I think it's about 1.5 inches by 5.5 of this beautiful bee paper. We're going to put this down the side just to bring in a little bit more color. So we could just keep it really simple and stick that right on there, but I just want another little pop of color in here. So I'm just going to line that right up with the edge. And yeah, looks good. And then this piece is going to go right on top of here. So I'm going to use this adhesive. And this is going to go right in the center. So we end up covering most of that DSP up, but it still gives you just a hint of that cinnamon cider kind of peeking out from behind. So making sure that there's an even border all the way around. Okay, and then I took the dies, so the Flowers of Home dies, and I used this die right here, and I cut it out of cinnamon cider. Okay, so we're going to use that. Just notice that there's a little piece left in here. Poke that out. Okay, and we'll add a little bit of adhesive in behind here just to adhere it. For those of you who are just joining in, I'm sharing 2 cards today using some brand new product from the upcoming January to June mini catalog. So this is going to go across about here. Pop that down. All right, and then we're going to take our greeting. We'll trim the ends just a little bit. We're going to pop this up using dimensionals. Where are my dimensionals? Here we go. Okay. So does anybody have any fun plans? Anybody celebrating Christmas this weekend? I'm hoping to get most of my presents wrapped this weekend. And my son and I are going shopping this afternoon. Okay, so this is going to go over top. So you just see a little bit of that, those flowers, those cinnamon cider flowers peeking up. All right, and then I thought we're going to use some new brushed brass butterflies. I have to be careful when I say that. That's quite a mouthful. And we're going to add some of these. This guy's stuck up here. Let's use him. We're going to add some of these to our project. They're so cute. There we go. There's the outside done. Let me bring it a little closer. Isn't that pretty? And it's so simple. And the flower looks stunning. You don't even need to color it in. It looks amazing. And you could do this in lots of different colors. Okay, so now let's bring our inside layer in. Now I had a piece of scrap paper here. I'm just trying to figure out which way it goes. I think this should work. And I thought I would just add this to the top here. I could just leave it with just the flower stamped inside, but I wanted to bring in a little bit of that brown on the inside. Cinnamon cider has really grown on me. It's not a color I liked when it first came out, but now that it's going to retire, when this catalog retires, I think I'll miss it. I actually use it a fair bit. Open this up. Stick that down on here. And there we go. There's our card with our matching envelope. So that is card number 1. Now we're going to make another one using the same kind of color combination. So I'll set this aside. Let's put this over here. This one has lots of pieces in it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is some stamping. So I've just got a big white scrap of paper, of white cardstock, and I'm going to use some cinnamon cider, and I'm going to use this floral image. I just re-inked this ink pad, so I'm hoping that it's okay. And I'm going to put this down on here just to the side because we are going to die cut it. Okay. And then we're going to take our Wink of Stella and we're going to add a little bit of color. Well, a little bit of shimmer. But this, you'll find that this also will blend just a little bit because there is some moisture in here. So it will blend the colors in some areas. So I'm just doing it over the darker shaded part of the flower. So I'm not really coloring in the flower. I'm just adding a little bit of shimmer. I'll bring it up a little closer for you guys to see. And then I'm just doing these little ones off to the side here. You could do the leaves as well, but I'm just going to stick with the flowers. So I'll bring it up a little closer so you can see. I don't know if you guys can see that sparkle. It's just a hint of sparkle. You could color in the whole petals as well if you wanted lots more sparkle. But I like just the hint of it there. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. We'll let it dry for a couple minutes. Not that it takes that long. Now I've got a piece of Pale Papaya cardstock. This measures 4 by 5 1/4. I've gone ahead and I've embossed it using the Timber embossing folder. This is from the July to December mini catalog, and I'm so excited that it's carrying over because it's one of my current favorite embossing folders. So I've gone ahead, I've embossed that. We're going to distress it just like we did the white piece. So I'm going to take this all the way across. And you know what? It's okay if it tears. I feel like it gives it character. So I usually, if I get a tear in it like that, I'll usually just kind of curl it up. All right, and then while we're making a mess here, let's do the other two pieces. So I've grabbed 2 pieces of DSP. So we're using this one. Again, it measures, I think, 1.25 inches by 3 3/4. And then this one is 1 inch by about 3 5/8. And we're going to distress the edges on these as well. So we're doing a lot of the same techniques on both of these cards. Distressing, we'll end up adding some splattering. You could go back and add a little hint of Wink of Stella on the first card if you wanted a little bit of that sparkle. So this gives it a little bit of a different look because it's a white core. All of our DSP has a white core, so it pulls in that little bit of contrast, especially on this darker one. Okay, let's get rid of our mess here. Okay, then we're going to bring in our scrap piece. We'll do our splattering on here. So again, I'm just using my dark cinnamon cider Stampin' Blend and adding a bit of splatter. And okay, what do we need to do here? This should be dry now, so we'll bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss and we'll die cut this. So there are two coordinating dies that are in this Flowers of Home die set. This one will cut the flower that we're going to cut right now, and this one will cut the big one that we used on the previous card. And then the rest are kind of complementary, so they add detail, layers. I call them complementary. I don't know if that's actually what they're called, but I figure the ones that cut out your stamped images are coordinating, and the other ones kind of complement it. So that's why I call them those, or I name them that way. All right, run this through. Pop this back on here so I don't lose it. That back out of the way. All right, so now we've got our die cut image, and we've got this. We've got our scrap pieces of paper or DSP, and I've gone ahead and I've taken a piece of the gold metallic cardstock. I think it's called brushed metallic cardstock from the July to December mini catalog, and I die cut two of the different complementary dies. So if we bring back the dies, I did this one and this one. So we're going to use those. And what else have we got here? Okay, the rest can wait. We'll bring in our card base, which is going to be cinnamon cider. So again, it's just a standard size card base. We'll add this to our card front. Now you can see that I'm using a lot more adhesive than I normally would, and that's just because it's embossed. That's going to go right in the center here. And I'm just going to make sure I apply pressure all the way around, make sure that glue sets. Okay, and then we're going to take our DSP, this adorable little bumblebee DSP. The bumblebee, what are they called? These things would work really well with this suite, actually. Let me see if I can find them really quickly. The bumblebee trinkets. Yeah, bumblebee trinkets from the annual catalog. They would go perfectly with this suite. All right, so we've got that piece on there, and then we're going to take this piece and add it. And I'm going to stagger it just a little bit and have a space in between, just like that. This is a great way to use up some of those scraps of paper that we always seem to have lots and lots of after you start cutting into your DSP. Okay, this guy's going to get popped up using dimensionals. Happy Friday to you too, Christine. We are playing with some new product today from the January to December mini catalog. And this is the second card that we're creating. So we already created one. I'll share a peek at it towards the end, as well as some additional samples. Okay, and then I've cut this label shape. This is from a die set from the annual catalog. It is the Ornate Frames. So I used this particular die right here. I love this die set because there's so many different label shapes. I had forgotten about it for a while, but pulled it out probably within the last couple of months and have been using it a ton. So I used that, cut it from white cardstock, and I want to make this a thank you card. So I'm just going to ink up just the thank you. I don't want the for inspiring me. So I'm just going to use this time my Stampin' Write marker. So this is different than our Stampin' Blends. So our Stampin' Blends are alcohol based, and you never want to write on your stamps with these or color on your stamps with the alcohol markers. But the Stampin' Write are water based. So you can write right on here, and that's how you can ink up just a portion of your stamp. or you can make it multiple colors. So if I wanted to have the For Inspiring Me and I wanted to have that maybe in the Pale Papaya, I could just pull out my Pale Papaya Stampin' Write marker and ink that bit up in Pale Papaya, and then I'd have the two colors. And you can see that I'm using the side of my Stampin' Write marker, the brush tip, and that just helps prevent it from fraying too quickly. All right, I'm just gonna huff on that, make sure it's nice and moist, and stamp that down on here. And it's not super straight, but it's close enough. Okay, and then this is going to go across. Actually, you know what I think we're going to do? We are going to distress the edges of this as well. I did a different greeting on my sample, and it took up a little bit more space than the thank you here, so I feel like the distressing around the edges on this might help. You could also sponge around the edges as well, especially in that Pale Papaya color. That would be really pretty. Okay, so we're going to pop this up. I'm going to use a dimensional here, and I think just a portion of a dimensional on the other side, because it's going to go over top of this. So right about there. Let's make sure it's straight. Okay, I think that looks good. And then we'll bring in our little shapes here. Just going to add a little bit of glue just at the bottom, and they are going to get, or this is going to get tucked underneath here. So we have that hint of that gold peeking out. And I think it really highlights the shimmer from the Wink of Stella that we added as well. Poke out these pieces. We're going to do the same thing with this guy and pop it under here, just like that. Okay, we're almost done. Now, I've got a piece of this Pale Papaya and white ribbon, and I feel like when you tie a bow from this ribbon, it really adds a lot of bulk because it is a thicker ribbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim right down the middle. I think somebody's been using my ribbon scissors for something other than ribbon. There's a little catch. They're not cutting as well as they should be. Just trimming right down the middle. This ribbon is probably way too long, but it happened to be in my scrap ribbon bin, or jar. So instead of cutting from the spool, I always check my scrap jar first. Okay, and then we're going to tie a bow with this. And this just reduces the bulk. And then we can trim the ends here. And you will find, because we did trim the edges, or right down the middle, it will start to fray, but I think that's part of the character. I really like how it looks when it starts to fray. I'll use a mini glue dot to adhere this guy. Don't you just love how everything coordinates? I know that was definitely one of the things that drew me into Stampin' Up! Was there was no guesswork. Stampin' Up! Did all the work for me. I didn't have to try to find pattern papers and cardstock to match. And now we've got ribbon and inks and everything all coordinates. Okay, the last step for the outside is just to add a few of these brushed brass butterflies. These are so cute. I think these are going to be super popular. Okay, so there's the outside of our card. Now for the inside, I do have a white layer here. Okay, so I had another strip of this, and I have a piece of this wood grain. And I know we don't have any wood grain on the outside, but I think I'm going to, let's see, do we want it that way or this way? No, I want it this way. You know what? I'm not going to use the wood grain. I thought I wanted the two patterns, but I like it better with just the one. Oh, that's good to hear, Mary Liz. Mary Liz said that CBC was talking about craft trends and handmade cards was a top one. That's good to see. I wonder if COVID had anything to do with that. I know, yeah, you have to be careful when you say that, right, Christine? I did find that a lot of customers who had I haven't heard from in a while, I started hearing from them during COVID just because people had more time on their hands. And I think it's just been a great way for people to connect because we haven't been able to see a whole lot of people, right? Or we're just starting to be able to see them now. So, I mean, sending a handmade card just lets everyone know that you're thinking of them. I think it's a great way. Like a lot of people say, it's like sending a hug in the mail. All right. There's the inside, and, well, we didn't do our envelope. Let's grab our scrap piece of paper and this stamp, and we will add nostalgia. Yeah, I agree. Speaking of sending cards in the mail, I still don't have my Christmas cards sent out. My team cards are done, but I still need to do my friends and family. They're all made. They're sitting in a basket. Just need to sit down and do it. That's this weekend's task, I think. That and wrapping gifts. All right, here we go. So here is, fold this over a little bit better. Okay, there is card number 2. Let me bring back card number 1. There is card number 1. So you can see a lot of the same techniques, 2 very different cards, and ones that you could repeat in lots of different colors. I think I might trim that a little shorter. But they're so beautiful. I just love them. And I love the little brushed brass butterflies. All right, now I had promised that I would share some additional samples. So this first one uses the same color combination. So here is a little peek at the doilies that are part of this collection. So they come in 3 different colors. They come in cinnamon cider, misty moonlight, and I'm drawing a blank in the third. I think it's 3 different colors. Maybe it's just 2. It's either 2 or 3. So here I did color in the image. I embossed in white and then colored on shimmer white cardstock and then colored in using my water painter. I used the DSP, Still Have a Perfect Birthday. And then I added some genial, I think they're called genial gems, in the pale papaya color. So I didn't have the butterflies at the time, but the butterflies would look really cute on there. So there's another one, and then we'll go to a different color combination. This is one that I shared on my blog, again, where you don't have to color it in. So this was embossed in silver, and I used the kind of grays and blue colors from here with just a pop of that green. And then this is the denim ribbon that is part of that collection. And here I added some silver metallic dots on there. So there's that one. And then this is a similar color combination. So here I took that larger floral image and I stamped it with Versamark embossed in white on that craft. and then added some opal rounds. And again, just a little hint of that denim ribbon peeking out there. And then the last one that I have to share with you is a scrapbook layout. And some of you may have seen this because I did post this on my blog a while ago. So this, again, that large floral image embossed in gold. I know you guys can't see the whole thing at the same time, but embossed in gold. And I stamped it 3 times. So this is a full one, this is a full one. And then this bit and this bit, I cut it in half so that I could stretch it rather than do a 4th one. And then I used Cajun Craze and ran the ink across. Some of those complementary dies were die cut from white and just kind of tucked in here and there. This little flower die is also part of the Flowers of Home dies, and that was cut. Those were cut from Cajun Craze cardstock. And then What a Beautiful Day for Love. That is one of the stamps from the stamp set. And I splattered with some gold and added a couple photos. It came together quite quickly, and I love how it looks. So I hope you guys enjoyed the projects for today. Remember, I will actually draw for 2 winners next week. So somebody will win this card and somebody will win this card. So make sure that you comment below whether you're watching the replay. If you're watching on YouTube, I still include you in that as well. Share it. If you've got crafty friends that you think would enjoy this, make sure that you share it with them, and that will give you additional entries. All right, thanks so much for watching. Have a fabulous weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.